It seems hard to imagine she would fall in love with her kidnapper. But in many stories Hades treated Persephone like the queen she was, doting on her day and night and allowing her to flourish. The story of Hades and Persephone is one that has fascinated people for centuries. It is a tale of love, abduction, and the power dynamics between gods and mortals. But one question that has always lingered in the minds of many is whether Hades was kind to Persephone during her time in the underworld. In the traditional version of the myth, Hades, the god of the underworld, falls in love with Persephone, the daughter of Demeter, the goddess of agriculture. Hades, smitten by Persephone's beauty, decides to abduct her and take her to the underworld to be his queen. This act of abduction is often portrayed as a cruel and selfish act, one that demonstrates Hades' disregard for Persephone's well-being and autonomy. One argument in favor of Hades' kindness towards Persephone is the fact that he allowed her to flourish in the underworld. Despite being taken against her will, Persephone is said to have become the queen of the underworld, ruling alongside Hades and presiding over the souls of the dead. This suggests that Hades did not keep Persephone as a prisoner, but rather treated her as an equal and respected her authority. Moreover, some versions of the myth describe Hades as a loving and attentive husband, who dotes on Persephone day and night. In these stories, Hades is depicted as showering Persephone with affection and gifts, and ensuring that she wants for nothing in the underworld. This portrayal of Hades challenges the traditional view of him as a cold and cruel kidnapper, and instead presents him as a caring and devoted partner. On the other hand, there are those who argue that Hades' treatment of Persephone was not as kind as some versions of the myth would have us believe. They point to the fact that Persephone was taken against her will, and that Hades' abduction of her was a violation of her autonomy and agency. Furthermore, some versions of the myth depict Hades as a possessive and controlling husband, who is unwilling to let Persephone leave the underworld, even for a short time. In these stories, Hades is portrayed as keeping Persephone by his side at all times, out of fear that she might leave him and return to the world above. This behavior is seen as evidence of Hades' selfishness and lack of consideration for Persephone's desires and autonomy. In conclusion, the question of whether Hades was kind to Persephone is a complex and nuanced one. While some versions of the myth portray Hades as a loving and devoted husband, who dotes on Persephone and allows her to flourish in the underworld, others depict him as a possessive and controlling kidnapper, who disregards her autonomy and agency. Ultimately, the truth of Hades' treatment of Persephone may never be known for certain, and it is up to each individual to interpret the myth in their own way.